Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Guys, so very small update, like in a very short time we climbed to 80 subscribers in fact. And this is something that both Sharvari and I are very, very happy about. And thank you so much guys that you have been, liking our content, leaving your comments behind. And we also love to talk about various and interesting topics, and that's why today we decided to bring forth the issue of body image issues. And I think in this age of social media and social media networking sites and Instagram models, Instagram influencers, celebrities, where people are continuously, like, we have access to watching some of the most beautiful people on planet Earth 24/7. I think this issue becomes all the more pertinent now. In the decades past, women were often seen to suffer from body image issues, mostly from the fact that there would be incredibly beautiful models on cover pages, but who would follow crazy and unsustainable dieting practices to look that way. However, in this generation, in Gen Z, and to some extent the younger millennials, there are a lot of men, unfortunately, who are suffering from body image issues. Um, so I think this is, at first, I would like a woman's perspective on this issue. So, Sharvari, first of all, welcome to our YouTube channel. And what do you like? How exactly would you define body image issues? And as a woman, what relevance do they have to you?
So actually, I'm going to speak in or from a dual perspective, one being that of a psychologist and the second that being a woman. So
Right.
first, I think I'll bring my woman point of view to the table first. So I think in the process of growing up, as we are in our adolescent phase or the teenager phase that we call it, all of us struggle
Mhm.
with a lot of body image issues because that's where it really starts if you think about it. And when
Yeah.
you're, yeah, right. And when you're small, you know that you're maybe different in some areas than other kids in general, but for some reason it does not really hit you that deep. But when you enter your adolescent phase, I think something happens that your self image or self concept is also developing, and that is why you become more self-conscious in general about how you look, how you carry yourself. And being a woman or a young girl, especially, I myself indeed went through that phase. So when I was growing up, I was kind of a skinny girl who was always pretty shy, and I was in the background, and that is why maybe in school I kind of got picked on a bit, or I was made a soft target, and I was made to feel a bit like I was made to feel a bit bad about my looks at times and things like that. So I think I would not say that this was my experience solely, because many girls, many boys out there, young girls and young boys out there, they indeed go through this. It can differ from person to person. Like, some of you might have acne, some of you might have hair issues, or you might be skinny, you might be more to the heavier side. But it's all a part of growing up, is what I'll start. So the
Mhm.
woman advice that I would want to give is, as Sharang, you clearly said, we have access to the internet 24/7, and we come across some of the most beautiful people on planet Earth. And
Yeah.
it's right there in your face, like you can't even avoid it. Or even if you go out for a stroll, you see these billboards and there are models who are looking perfect on that. So
Mhm.
anywhere you go, you really can't avoid it. But I think as a woman, how I try to, convince myself that I am not like them, or I should not be like them, or think like them, is that my body is me, but my mind is also me. So I
Beautifully said.
yeah, exactly. So I might have a different body. All of us are different in every way. We have, I don't know if you guys know about endomorphs, mesomorphs, and ectomorphs. These are all body types. So we all have different body types, but how you are here and how you are as a person right here is, I think, an ultimate definition of who you are as a human being. So it values more how you help people, how is your approach to life, how do you treat others. I think the third point is the most important, because you see these beautiful people, but then when you actually go and interact with them, they're really, nothing stands out about them. But if you meet a person who really is kind to others, who's empathetic, who's genuinely, this positive ray of energy, then you tend to remember that person for life. This would be the woman point of view I put out on the table. Maybe now I'll come to the psychologist point of view. So I haven't like practiced a lot in my life since I'm in my mid-20s, you can say. So I have spent about 4 or 5 years in some odd internships and all. But I did come across some clients who did have body image issues, and especially a disorder is named after this. It's called body dysmorphic disorder. So the disorder says that something is wrong with your body. You keep on thinking that something's wrong with you, and you keep on obsessing about it excessively to the point that you can't function. And that is why I think the psychologist in me immediately ties this to self-esteem and your overall insecurities. So you should work on that part of yourself where you feel insecure. Now you have to go through this whole journey of self-discovery. Why do you exactly feel insecure about this particular thing? Why do you have such a poor self-concept? And that is maybe how I would take it in the psychological approach. That would be my take on this thing. What about you, Sharon?
Okay, perfect. So I think you've laid out a very reasoned argument, and I didn't butt in because I did not want to interrupt you, right? But you said something very curious, which I think everyone, but particularly our female listeners, should take note of. And that was your image issue started with the onset of puberty, right? When you entered adolescence.
That's
So so the technical reason for that is actually the onset of puberty. Because if you think about a child, pre-pubescent child, boys and girls are very, very similar. And all the differences, both in personality as well as in physiology, right, which manifest themselves in both men and women, are the result of the different hormonal levels, testosterone in our case, and estrogen and progesterone and prolactin, so on and so forth in your case, right? So essentially, male and female puberty has a different impact on us, and it affects our neurophysiological development. And that is why, because one of the, I think you know this better than I do, but one of the main differences, personality-wise, between men and women is that women tend to be more neurotic than men are.
that's
Some evolutionary biologists hypothesize that it is because a woman's body is optimized for childcare, right? Because especially in the early years, a woman's primary responsibility, or she has to take care of the child, right? So to do that, your nervous system has to be optimized in a different way, and you have to be hypersensitive to any discomfort that the infant may be emanating. And because of this, women, on average, cross-culturally, by the way, so it's not just Indians or Scandinavians or whatever, cross-culturally, women tend to be much more neurotic and much more sensitive to negative emotion as compared to men. So this of course can go into body image issues, because if you're negative, if you have this propensity, let's say, towards neuroticism, then of course it makes sense.
That's
Now with that,
actually true. Very true.
sorry.
What I said is that's actually true.
Yeah. So perfect. So now coming to what I feel about this whole issue, right? So a little bit of personal life. So when I was 17, right, even I was very skinny. So I was like 53 kilograms when I was like 15 or 16 years old, and I looked like a scarecrow essentially. And it was then that I also felt a bit insecure about my body, and it was not that. So I felt this need to put on weight, and luckily I never went for things like steroids or enhancers. But I can potentially foresee a future, where I would have gone down the very wrong track.
Yeah.
And I worked consistently on myself. I worked out, and today, I'm not saying I look like the most muscular guy in the world, but I'm happy with the way I look. Of course, I could look better. That's true for everyone. But I'm happy with myself, right? And I've put on like 17 kilos of mostly good muscle or weight, good body weight in that. But it took a long, hard struggle of 10 years. So the problem today, especially for young men, is that when like you turn on any movie, you turn on Instagram, and you see these big guys, with a chiseled 6-pack, 8-pack. And the thing is, what you need to remember is one, that is the most unhealthy thing for you. Because that level of body fat, which shows a 6-pack, is actually long term very, very bad for your health. And oftentimes, so Hugh Jackman has given an interview, right, that before his Wolverine scene, he did not drink water for like around 24 to 36 hours. So to look that shredded, they have to completely dehydrate themselves so that their muscle striations are visible in detail.
Hmm.
So that is the problem. So if you're a young man, what you need to remember is that whenever you look at some model or some handsome actor and he looks like a Greek god, the thing is you need to remember a few things. One is Photoshop. A lot of CGI, Photoshop, as well as the perfect camera angles and some lighting techniques are used to enhance the contrast and to make that person look better. Number one. Number two is that these people, a lot of them have access to steroids and things like enhancers. So, for example, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, right? He's 50 years old and he still has the body of a Greek god. Something like that is most probably not the result of normal hormone production. It is the result of a lifetime spent abusing steroids. Only then can you look like that. So, and all competitive bodybuilders. So, competitive bodybuilding does not have steroid tests because if they did, then you can't get to that size.
That's true.
And the third thing is that so my point is you need to remember all of this when you compare yourself to them. And third thing is even if you could, you don't want to look like that because being that low body fat, because we are taught to body fat is wrong, it's disgusting, body fat is unhealthy. That's not true. A certain level of body fat is great. If you're a young man, you should aim for a body fat between 10 to 15%. That's the ideal for you. So if you want to aim for something, aim for the body of someone like Virat Kohli, for example, because that's a functional athletic body which will bring you happiness in life. And the main important thing is that if you're a young man, you will deal with a lot of insecurity, right? And how to cope with those insecurities, especially because the world is trying to make you feel inadequate about yourself. They're saying you're not tall enough, you're not handsome enough, you're not well dressed enough, you're not big enough in terms of your musculature, and the world is telling you that. And you don't control what the world says, but you can control your reaction to it. And this is a profound insight that I actually obtained from the Bhagavad Gita, right? Where it said that just sit by yourself and continuously focus on your breathing. And when you focus on your breathing, thoughts will just arise in your mind. And every time a thought arises in your mind, draw that thought back onto your breathing. And at some point, you realize that these are just thoughts that you have. Thoughts about your insecurity, thoughts about your own inadequacy, thoughts designed to make you feel inadequate in this. And your thoughts are not you. And the moment you come to that conceptual clarity, right, is when you will take the first step towards finding a semblance of peace in life. Because that's when you realize, okay, the world is making me feel inadequate. I refuse to respond. I should make a choice to be content with myself. I'm not saying you shouldn't work towards improving yourself. Continuous self-improvement is desirable. But compare yourself to who you were yesterday. And remember that a lot of what you see out in the social media and on films is Maya. It is an illusion. And with this, I think that's it. I would love your input on everything I said.
Sure. So you make a few excellent points. I think especially the last point, what you said was really helpful. I think for the adolescent population or anyone in their 20s, anyone having body image issues, I would say, is that, people will tell you to be a certain way. And they want you to, be this, they want you to be that. But I think the best way to be is what you feel like and what aligns with your value system. That's why, just kind of, it is very hard when you hear things like that constantly. It's very hard to develop a tough skin to all these things. But once your self-concept improves, once your self-esteem improves, then I think it will not matter what people say about you or what people say to you. You will, reach a phase where all that stuff just, washes over you. And I think that would be the ultimate stage of, not giving a reaction to what you just said, in my opinion. So yeah, I think that's all. And I want to let the audience know that it is
Sorry,
okay.
before that,
Yeah,
no,
sure.
sorry. Just wanted
Go
to
ahead.
add quickly something that if you're a young man, especially, and if anyone approaches you for steroids, do not take steroids, guys. They will ruin your reproductive system. If you abuse steroids, they suppress natural testosterone production. If you take artificial testosterone, they suppress your natural testosterone production. It will lead to long-term damage of your reproductive system. So please do not take steroids. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah,
Continue.
and I agree. And overall, like that's a good advice that you gave for young men. For young women, I think it's better to always make visits to your local family physician or your gynecologist to ensure that you don't have any conditions that might be causing your weight gain. Because, things like these are better to be diagnosed early in life so you get the time to work on it. And especially in our generation, things like, especially for girls, PCOD and PCOS are on the rise. We all have bad lifestyles. We don't really eat healthy food. So it's better that we kind of keep ourselves in check, of course, with a routine, and keeping ourselves healthy is the main goal. And not, having unrealistic body expectations would be my giveaway from this video overall to all the young population out there.
Right.
So I guess, Sharang, it's a great place that with this message, we end this video. And
Yeah.
yes, definitely. And thank you so much, guys, for watching and all the love that you have been showering on our video. We would definitely encourage you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Sharang and Sharvari on YouTube. We have already posted a lot of great content, so please make sure that you stop by and watch those videos as well, because it's something that will definitely intrigue you. And do stay tuned for the next video. If you have any suggestions, do drop some in the comment section down below. And I hope to see you soon next time. Thank you, Sharang.
Yeah. And thank you guys for all the love you're showered on us thus far.
Thank you so much, everyone, and have a nice day.